So I'm here with Bob Bickle. And Bob, you've talked about how 2025 is going to be the year of AI for RunSignup. Can you tell us a little bit about the history of that?
So maybe I'll take kind of two steps back and talk about the history of AI, kind of in a more recent type of thing. I'm not going to go way, way back. But I guess where I'd like to start is in 2009, there was a project called ImageNet at Princeton. And what they did is they put up lots and lots of photos, and then they used AWS Mechanical Turk, which is just humans, to tag those photos. So here's a photo of a cat, they tag a cat. And then they held a contest.
And that was the AI photo recognition contest.
Yeah. And in 2012, the University of Toronto won that. And a couple of the current leading AI, experts were actually part of that team. And the way that they solved the problem is they basically set up a neural network. They called it AlexNet. And the neural network kind of acted a lot like the human brain. So it was based upon like neurons, and the neurons basically process little pieces of information depending upon parameters. And then the network is the idea of combining all those things together. So I think that they had maybe like 60 million parameters feeding into these I think it was about 650,000 neurons. And then it basically trained it on the images. So it said, okay, neural network, here's a bunch of images and a bunch of tags, and learn what a cat looks like. It's got pointy ears and a face that looks a certain way and four legs and things like that. And so all of these things kind of get shaped, just like the human brain gets shaped about being trained. I kind of equate it to my granddaughter who's learning right now. She's only 10 months, but you can actually see her studying things and putting things in her mouth and just trying to figure out what the heck this is, and, in a little while she'll learn, like things that are colored red is, oh, I call that a color and that's red and stuff like that. So basically the University of Toronto created a neural network that basically kind of learned based upon information it was fed and given. And that was the start of it. And it turns out that it's kind of like a math problem. And it's like matrix math, and there's a lot of processing that has to be done. But what's interesting about the matrix math is that it can happen in parallel. And so everybody's heard of NVIDIA, and NVIDIA chips are powering these big things. And Meta, Google, Microsoft, they're all spending billions, tens of billions. I think AWS just announced that they're going to spend $100 billion on capital expenses next year. Just a lot of money on this. And basically what they're doing is they're creating bigger and bigger models with more and more neurons and more parameters. And the DeepSeek stuff that just came out had something like 600 billion parameters, I want to say. And I can't remember how many neurons it is, but it's just like a lot of capability. Now, the human brain, just to use kind of a reference, has about 80 to 90 million neurons in it. So this early work and even the current work is the current work is actually getting comparable and in some ways ahead of the human brain. So it's kind of starting to become interesting now in terms of just where the raw technology is going. And just to give another kind of stat here of the adoption of this stuff in, I think, say 2018, 2017, NVIDIA had total sales of like 13 billion or something like that. It was less than 15 billion. And the past 12 months, they've had like $115 billion of sales. So they've gone like this. And the reason is that companies are starting to invest in AI because it's kind of hit that point where it's become powerful. And it really kind of started to people see it in the summer of 22 when Midjourney was first released. And that was like a tool that you could talk to the machine and it would create images for you. And then I think it was November of 22 that ChatGPT first launched. And then that's when everybody got super, super excited about the potential for AI. So that's kind of like the background of it. And over the past couple of years, a lot of people at RunSignup, including myself, have kind of been playing around with Midjourney or ChatGPT and stuff like that, but I can't really say that it was a real differentiator quite yet. In our development team, about a year ago, we started using Copilot, which had small incremental improvements. It might have improved productivity maybe 1 to 5%, depending upon the developer. So it was incremental. So everything to date has been kind of a little bit toyish or incremental in nature. But kind of the thing that really switched my mind was in December, I was talking to this friend of mine, Rich Friedman, and Rich is always on the cutting edge. And he told me about how he was starting to use AI for his own development needs. And it basically turns your head on how you think about doing software development, because you basically tell the model to write the code for you, and then you check the code. And these tools that are starting to emerge are so powerful, they actually have like significant advantages in terms of the productivity that would come out of the software development area. The other thing is that we use Freshdesk for support. So all of our customer support requests kind of go through that, and we log all that. We also put all of our content for help articles, all the stuff that you do actually goes into Freshdesk. So about a year ago, we were playing with that because they have an AI model that can be a chat bot, and it was kind of very marginal, to say the least. And what we've observed recently is that it's like an order of magnitude better. So basically, we've declared 2025 is a year that AI is going to become real and provide additional levels of productivity to our customers and to ourselves. And I'm just super excited about what's coming.